What is good, Osiris? Here, stuck in the middle every day at 9 a.m. Mountain Time. I have a new upload. This is a bonus segment. Thank you for taking the time. This is on Joe Manchin. And I actually think Joe Manchin is being sincere. I I've done some videos, or I've mentioned it in other videos, where I thought Joe Manchin was the most happiest of all that the Democrats won the Georgia runoff, because that created a tie. He's one of the few senators in a purple state who's willing to buck the party for favors or whatever he wants, not illegal favors, but things that he wants done to hold out his vote. But here I actually think he's being sincere. I don't think he's holding out his vote on this bill here. I'm going to get into the news. I don't think he's doing it for nefarious reasons. I really don't. Tell me what you think in the comments. How Joe Manchin's awful new stance could blow up in his face. The Washington Post. This is opinion by Greg Sargent. So by now you've heard that Senator Joe Manchin has essentially declared he has co-signed us to a future of minority rule. In a new piece, the West Virginia Democrat says he'll vote against his party's voting rights legislation and will never, ever vote to weaken the filibuster. This appears to lock Manchin into a position that guarantees efforts to protect democracy will fail, but it also locks Manchin into a position that will soon grow untenable for him, at least if his own words have any meaning. In my opinion, that's a threat. My theory on that right there, that's coming from Washington Post, obviously a left-leaning establishment newspaper, they use these op-eds to do some stuff. Those are not, let me read that again for you. But it locks Manchin into a position that will soon grow untenable for him, at least if his own words have any meaning. It didn't say I predict. It didn't say I think. It's very strongly worded. I think he's sincere. Let's hear from him himself. And you tell me if this sounds unreasonable. The right to vote is fundamental to our American democracy, and protecting that right should not be about party or politics. Least of all, protecting this right, which is a value I share, should never be done in a partisan manner. Unfortunately, we are now witnessing that the fundamental right to vote has itself become overtly politicized. Today's debate about how to best protect our right to vote and to hold elections, however, is not about finding common ground, but seeking partisan advantage. Whether it is state laws that seek to needlessly restrict voting or politicians who ignore the need to secure our elections, partisan policy making won't instill confidence in our democracy. It will destroy it. Tell me where he's wrong. I had to come and do this video because I am so sick of the establishment Democrats on every position. It feels like they're force feeding me something, holding my mouth open, stuffing it down my throat, and telling me it tastes good. If you don't like it, there's something wrong with you. This is what they're doing. Joe Manchin is a Coke puppet. Follow the money. They're bringing out MLK on it. Joe Manchin is the guy at the whites-only diner who thinks the Negroes staging the sit-in are disturbing the peace. What? Where is that coming from? There's nothing out there for you to say anything like that. Meanwhile, Joe Biden has all kinds of crazy comments. Everything that I learned about what a Democrat stood for makes me wonder why Joe Manchin is a member of our party. Why can't he understand that Republicans do not want bipartisanship? They want to control, and he continues to give them what they want. Without Joe Manchin, Mitch McConnell is majority leader. Is there any point to the NAACP and other civil rights groups meeting with Senator Joe Manchin at this point? Wouldn't that be roughly like having MLK sit down with old Strom Thurmond to discuss the filibuster and the Voting Rights Act in 1965? Manchin has told y'all who he is. They're basically pulling out the race card again. You heard what I read some of the clip of what straight from Joe Manchin's mouth. Where is he wrong? I don't want to hear this other stuff. Tell me where he's wrong. If you're going to do a bill on voting, how can it not be bipartisan? We know he's not the only Democrat that feels this way. He's the only one that's in a purple state and has the courage. Democrats can't capture the heart, minds, and souls of people. So they're always attacking, they're always using force. And it's getting more stronger. It's getting worse and worse and worse. Y'all have to ease up. This is going to backfire. It feels like I'm going through life and they're always trying to force something down your throat. And if you say, even if you have a milk toast opinion, like, I don't know, maybe we should look at it. They come hard. They come hard, swinging to cancel you. This is not. Look at this stuff. I mean, this stuff is really hard hitting. None of it addresses his concern. Damn it, if you don't even try to convince people for your arguments, how are you govern? You might have an idea at work or anywhere, at home or wherever, and you have to deal with people in your house or people at work. And one of the most important parts of having any idea is being able to bring it to the table and say, honey, or to say team, or to say boss, here's my idea. I'm gonna lay it out for you. Let me know what you think. Give me feedback. And you lay it out, and then you might try to convince them, okay, I got good feedback. Here's where I thought of that. Here's where this is the good. They can't win the heart and souls of the country. This is why our government's set up this way. Do you not like our form of government? You actually do have to work with people across the aisle. You actually have to work together. Yeah, I know that sounds crazy. Democrats spend the whole summer burning down our cities with an anti-police message. And when it comes to January 6th, they're flying Blue Lives Matter flags. Why? Because they have an agenda. They've got to force it down your throats by any means necessary. There's no principle. It's not even hypocrisy because they don't stand on anything. You can't hold them as hypocrites because they don't stand for anything. It's unbelievable. I'm going to end with this. Lauren Chen had an amazing tweet. And this was in response to the situation with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Matt Walsh. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said her grandma is struggling in Puerto Rico, I believe it is, and she blamed Trump for it, for not providing relief. And Matt Walsh was like, well, you're blaming Trump, but you make about 180 a year. Are you going to help her out? Matt Walsh actually did a GoFundMe for Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's grandmother. I'm going to talk about that in a separate video. But my point with this is he raised the money, and then at the end of the day, after that money was raised, they turned it down on the grandma side. I don't know if it was AOC or the grandma who made the decision, but GoFundMe is not going to GoFundMe is not going to take money for a fundraiser for someone who doesn't want it. And Lauren Chen had the tweet of the year for me. So Matt Walsh is like, you didn't take the money. Then he didn't say this, but it pretty much exposes you as a phony, as a virtue signaling phony. And Lauren Chen, in response to that, said, AOC, she wants money from you. She just doesn't want you to have given it voluntarily. Take care.